Hey, how's it going? This is Josh from Books by Josh, and I would like to welcome you guys to episode number 20 of the Books by Josh show. This week's episode is titled Number One. This might be one of the vaguest titles I ever put, but that just means you have to stick around until the end. Plus, it's the only title I could think of because I kind of went off topic this week. So, let's dive into this week's episode. Close your eyes. It's a simple exercise we're going to do. I'm going to say a couple things and I'm probably going to guess exactly what you think of. Sneakers, paper towels, hamburger. So now open your eyes. When I said sneakers, you probably thought Nike. When I said paper towels, you were thinking Bounty. And when I said hamburger, you thought McDonald's. Why? Because of how they marketed themselves, right? Is McDonald's the best burger? No. But we think of it whenever we hear burger. What does that tell us? You don't have to be the best for people to shop at your store or think of you when they think of something. When you think average Joe giving advice or just talking, you think Books by Josh. Josh. It's the same thing. But sneakers, Nike probably doesn't have the best sneakers. But you think of them because of the marketing and everything behind it. So what am I getting at with this? That's basically the general idea of today's topic. You don't have to be the best to be successful, is what I'm getting at. I remember watching a Gary Vee when he said in front of an audience about Facebook, you don't have to be Zuckerberg. You could be the 15th person down the line and still make a buttload of money. He didn't say it like that, but you get it. That's the fact about business. We have 4 major wireless carriers in the United States. Verizon's number 1. T-Mobile's number 3, but T-Mobile makes a lot of money. Not as much as Verizon, but they make enough to stay afloat, right? Same thing. So, the other day I wrote a blog post about the game of life, aka The Rat Race, as I put it there, by Robert Kiyosaki. And we're all in it. But in life, let's take a step back right now. Because we have to gauge exactly where we are if we want to obtain those goals. So, once we do that, we have to take a step back and relax for a bit. What do I mean by that? Well, honestly, we're a bit too hard on ourselves for most things. What do I mean? Once again, I'm being vague, but let me explain. We compare ourselves to other people. All the time. Our parents do, our friends do it. We constantly compare ourselves to other people. When you were growing up, you know the saying, oh, if everybody jumped off the bridge, would you do it? That's a comparison, saying you want to be like your friends. I remember me growing up, I had a rival that whatever grades he got, my mother would say, oh, how come you didn't do this person doing that? It's the same thing. So think about everybody who says they want to get in shape. They have this picture in their mind of the ideal body. Think about it. Don't you want to be like, let's just say, Chris Evans? You see, you're like, yeah, I want to look like that. That's comparing ourselves. The same thing applies to our lives as a whole. We all have that vision of how we want our lives to look. We all have goals, dream board. We all have that perfect life in our head. So let's close our eyes again. Promise this is probably going to be the last time I ask you guys to close your eyes this episode, but close your eyes and just think about the job you want. What kind of job do you want to have? You want to run your own business? How much money do you want to make? Keep your eyes closed. Now that you're making that much money, what kind of car do you drive? What kind of house do you live in? What's the neighborhood like? What's your family situation? Open your eyes slowly. Now think about your current situation. And guess what? You hate your current situation now, don't you? Well, you should and shouldn't. You should because you put yourself into this, but you shouldn't because most of your dreams are probably unrealistic. Let's be honest here. We are working towards achieving those goals, but are we actually working to achieve those goals? What do I mean by that also? See, I'm being vague, but there's reason why. So listen here. When I say are you working to achieve those goals, but actually working, don't say you're working to be a millionaire when you're only doing the bare minimum to get by in your 9 to 5. And yet you're going out and watching every game, basketball seasons, football season, baseball season, hockey. You have to make sure you're working towards it. So it's the same thing with your life. If you want your life to happen, you have to work towards that. So I'm saying most of our goals are unrealistic. You want to drive a Ferrari, but you don't even have a license yet. At the same time, don't try to be number one in sales in your company if you're not that great. Here's a segue. So I have a friend of mine, a very good friend, who makes well into 6 figures. I'm talking good money. From just commission alone, not including their salary. So I interviewed for a similar position, and when asked how much I wanted to make, I answered back with a modest amount, which was less than an eighth of the commission that my friend makes. But Josh, why wouldn't you say you want to make the same as them? Why wouldn't you shoot for the stars? Because I know how I am as a person, and I know I don't have what it takes to be number one in any company as a seller. I can make it top 15, top 20. Number one's a big hurdle that I'm not willing to go for. And guess what? Even if I make an eighth of what this person makes, I'll be happy. Why? Because I'm still making enough money to pay all my bills, to invest, to do whatever I want. It's good to dream big, but the only way to turn that into reality is to work harder than the dream. I want to be a writer. That's great. How did I put out my first book? Everybody thinks writing is easy. No. I was putting in 18-hour shifts at the end to finish that book, not including editing. This is just writing. Editing was a whole nother nightmare. But the dream is easy. That's the easy part. Think of the dream. But actually going and making it happen is hard. You have to do more work than people realize. That's why a lot of people don't succeed. But that's how you get results, and that's the joy of free will. So let's get back to this first. Neil Armstrong walked on the moon first, but he didn't do it by himself. So even if you're not first, second, third, fourth, fifth, 20, anything, you don't have to be in the spotlight. There was a team behind him. And behind every great star, there's always a team behind them. Schroeder had Pippen and Rodman. In order for a star to shine, it needs amazing support. So think about this in the business sense. In business, sales driver business, you say, that's great and all. But the thing that keeps a business afloat is the back end. The back end has to be golden in order for a business to operate. If your back end isn't there, you can't open. What do I mean? Back end is all the little stuff, paperwork, legality, accounting, inventory. The things nobody sees when they walk in. Somebody walks in, let's say you have a grocery store. The back end is making sure nothing's expired on the shelf. Or you have a restaurant, you serve bad food because, let's say, the clams went bad or the chicken went bad. Something went bad, you get sued. You get shut down, health code violation. That's the back end. That's why it's important. One little mistake and you can be in a mess of trouble. That's why you have to make sure that your support is there. shipments could be messed up. You could end up losing lots of money like Walmart did a couple years ago. Let me tell you what happened with Walmart's back end. Someone made an error a couple years ago online that caused almost all of the electronic products to be listed for $8. Yes, $8. A 60-inch TV was selling for merely $8. I know people who bought thousands of dollars worth of electronics for under $100. Do you know what Walmart did? Because of this back end problem, the back office was messed up. They honored all the orders because it would tarnish their name. They're the superstar. Walmart itself is a stellar company. Everybody knows Walmart, cheap. Walmart, great customer service. Any problems you could return, no questions asked. But they had to honor this because they messed up in their back end. It cost them thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars because everything was sold out because of that error. Hey, don't get me wrong. It's great to be number one. But all eyes on you. I don't know about you, but I don't want to be the center of attention. So that's why I do my best to stand on the same level, just not on the pedestal. Because you don't have to be in front, guys. So what? You're not the best employee at your job. If you're the second or third best, people are going to take notice. You just have to be content to share the stage with amazing people. The spotlight isn't for everyone. Not everyone's meant to stand out and talk to people or stand out and be the face of a company. Okay, Elon Musk, he's a quiet person. He's worth all this money, but he's a quiet person. Now take a look at Gary Vaynerchuk. He's not worth as much, but he's more vocal. Gary Vaynerchuk is a type of person who's going to stand on out, as opposed to Elon Musk. Or you want to talk about Mark Cuban. Mark Cuban has a more outgoing personality. And that's why he's on stuff like Shark Tank, things like that. Elon Musk has SpaceX, PayPal. He made money off Tesla. But they're basically around the same net worth. And Mark Cuban's totally different. He shines out more because of his personality. He likes to be number one. He's competitive. That's what you have to understand. If you're not hungry, you're definitely not going to be number one. But it doesn't matter. If you have a little bit of an appetite, you still make it. So that pretty much wraps up this episode of the Books by Josh Show. If you liked it, feel free to subscribe to the podcast. If you want more content, check out YouTube by searching Books by Josh. Visit us online at booksbyjosh.com. Feel free to follow us on Twitter, at Books by Josh, and on Facebook at Books by Josh R. If you wish to support us, feel free to become a patron at patreon.com/booksbyjosh. If you want a copy of my book, Private Eye, you can go Amazon for the ebook, or you can get a physical copy through Amazon.com or BarnesandNoble.com. Or if you want my John Hancock on it, booksbyjosh.com. Anyway, guys, if you're watching this on YouTube, feel free to hit that subscribe button or hit that little bell for notifications. I'll see you guys in the next one. See ya.